Maybe. Can you hear me? She still looks frozen. And I don't see anyone else. That's really weird.
Didn't she give you
Okay. Yeah, it just called me again. All right.
Oh yeah, I recognized her from my class last time.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi.
I don't think the teacher's here yet. If she is, I haven't seen her.
Well, sometimes she runs late sometimes.
Yeah.
Is anyone booted off?
What was that?
Is any? I keep getting booted off. Are you getting booted off?
No, I'm not. Are you connected? Are you hardwired, or are you on Wi-Fi? Do you know?
I don't know. I'm at Edward Little.
Oh yeah. They sent out an email earlier saying make sure you weren't using Wi-Fi because it would have trouble in if the weather's bad.
Right. She
But
still
I don't
hasn't
know.
signed on?
I haven't seen her. No, it's just been the three of us, or the two of
Nice.
us when you get booted off.
Right. Well, I have time to get home, I think, and get on.
You guys hear me? No?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Trying to put up the volume some more. How's that, girls? Better?
Fine.
Why am I in two places?
Let me, girls, ask you something, girls. I thought she had said that we weren't supposed to use this book, but in taking some of the tests that we were taking, you need to take this book. It has the information in there. And the sim stuff, you have to go online to actually do some of this stuff, and I didn't know if you guys knew that. Because I thought we were just supposed to be dealing with just this book.
Right.
But one of the tests it took, it says, I'll just use this for an example. One of them was SOAP. Nowhere in this book does it say anything about SOAP. And nothing in this book does it say anything about SOAP. So how do we find out where this SOAP is and what is it?
What chapter were you testing on?
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah. Because I thought that's what we needed to know, 1 and 2. But
Yeah.
still, it's still not even in here.
SOAP, I learned in medical terminology, is the way you make out the records. And I can't remember what it was, how that goes.
Well, one of those questions, actually 2 of the questions on that test was, what does the S stand for? And what does the P stand for? But you don't find it in this book, and you don't find it in this book, so how do we find these questions? And I'm going to ask her how to do that. Am I missing?
No, that little book that you're talking about, we're not supposed to do that for 8 weeks. 8 or 10 weeks.
This little one, the decoding
Right.
one. But I thought she said from Gardner, she was the same way too. She thought we weren't supposed to use this book.
We're not supposed to. That one's not for 10 weeks.
Then how do you get to find out what soap is if that's one of the questions on the test?
I can't answer that.
I know, I'm gonna ask.
That wasn't the only question. There was a couple of other questions that weren't in the book. I couldn't find.
I'm going to ask her because I have no idea either. I thought it was just me, but the lady that takes the medical terminology with me, she couldn't find some of the answers either, and she was like me, kind of like, what are we doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like lost as far as this. I don't, reading the big book, it's fine.
Right.
And some of the answers to those tests are in this book, but some of them aren't.
Right.
And you have to go online and hook up to get the sim thing and everything. You got to go under the Evolve and sign up and everything, but I don't know. I don't know how to do it, and that lady didn't know either. Hopefully she'll be on tonight too.
Hopefully the instructor will be on tonight.
Hopefully. Did you get your book, young lady? You did? We seen you with your flashcards the other day, and it was like, boy, she's writing a lot of stuff.
I just got my book earlier today, so I haven't had much of a chance to look through it.
Like I said, it's a lot of reading and stuff, but I don't know. I'm missing something. I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm missing something.
Do you know where is the study guide supposed to be in the book? Because she wanted us to do the study guide for today's class, right?
You should have two books.
She had said that during last class, but I didn't see it in the book. Is it supposed to be something separate?
I don't know. For me, I thought she was doing study guides. I thought she was meaning, like, at the end of the...
in your study
yeah,
guide book.
Like something like that. It asks you all kinds of questions. What would you do? Or, like these. I thought that's what she meant by reading each questions and trying to figure out what your answers would be.
You don't have two books?
I have this one. I have this one.
No. You have two like this?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Then you don't have your study guide book. Your study guide book looks exactly the same, but it's all questions.
Was that supposed to be sent to us with the actual book?
Yeah.
You should have.
Because I didn't get it.
I didn't get it either. So, high five, girl.
All right.
You should have gotten two books. They look exactly the same. Says study guide.
Nope.
I didn't get that one either.
Well, I thought it was just me, so I'm glad I'm not the only one that's lost. Because
you're not.
I have just this, and that's all I have. So
yeah, me too.
Yeah, so I don't know what she has. I don't know what I'm missing or whatever. I did that test for the Sims thing. It said one was like a pre-test, and then you had to do a mode, and then you had, and I got like an F, and I'm like, all right. Half these things weren't even in the friggin' book, and I don't know.
Yeah, I got a really bad grade too, but I thought it was because I didn't have the book yet, and I was just going off what I had taken notes on from the last class.
Right.
So now that I just got the book earlier today, so I was going to try it again with the book. But if you had a hard time with the book too, then I don't know.
You took the test without having the book?
Yeah, I took it just.
I gave it a shot, but
yeah, me too.
Yeah, but I got the book probably delivered about a half an hour after I tried to take the test.
Yeah.
So I should have just waited, but.
Well, I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, you should have.
I'm
you
going
should
to
have
too.
2 books. And they look exactly the same. Exactly the same. Only one says study guide, and the other one is the book that you have.
I never got it, so.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were supposed to get, but then I only got one, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, you should. It may be coming in the mail. It may be behind, or.
I've had mine for over a month now, and I still haven't received anything. If it's supposed to be here, then it should have come along with the other books that I had, because I got my medical terminology book, and I got these at the same time. So if they were going to come...
So did I.
They should have come at the same time. So I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I got these books with my terminology books, too, but it didn't have a study guide with it.
Well, you know what, girls? I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, because with a full-time job in these 2 classes, we're in the 3rd week for the medical terminology, and it's like, right over my head. I told my husband, I'm like, I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew. Did you get a study guide, young lady? I don't know what her name is.
Brittany, I think her name is.
Brittany, did you get a book, a study guide like that too? She's not listening?
Maybe it's not Brittany. I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't hear her.
Can't hear you. We can't hear her.
Yeah, you took on a lot. I'm doing medical terminology, and I'm in my 7th week, and doing this, but I'm not working.
Yeah. We still can't hear you. Want to try it again? No, because we can't hear you. Yeah, I wondered if she got her book too, but yeah, I'm doing like one book, one thing, and then a couple of days later I'll try to do the other book, but it's still way too much.
You know what? You should talk to Amy and only do one class at a time.
I'm already into it now. I'm just going to do the best that I can. And
this is the second time I take this class. I started it and did 4 weeks of it, and but I was following last semester's lectures, and they had a different book than I did, and I just wasn't getting it. So I stopped and waited for this class to begin. But you could do one, and the terminology I find not difficult, but you have to study a lot. There's a lot of words.
Yeah. Well, the teacher's late.
Yeah. She said she runs late, but I didn't think she ran this late.
I don't know. No, I didn't get the study guide. So let me ask you, reading this book, for this book, it says you can get to the SIM charts where it actually accesses the medical records, and it's on chapter 2. I don't know, girls, if you want to take a look at it, but it tells you how to get on there and actually start accessing some of the parts to it, because I found some of the answers to some of the tests in here, and like what the HIPAA was and different things. One of the other questions was, when you close your computer at night, I mean, for security reasons, do you shut off the computer? Do you leave it on all night long? Do you back it up on like a disk or something?
I didn't have that question.
I had that question, and that's why I was wondering. I think it was because of this, because I got in this.
Are you doing the chapter?
The chapter.
I'm still seeing all of the girls, but no instructor. I'm on. Right, there's 4 of us, but no instructor. I don't know. Gardner's on, but I know that Gardner is one of the remote sites, but I don't think the instructor's from Gardner though. I can't really tell you. I don't know where she lives. The ones that are on with me now?
Topsum.
I've got one in Topsum. What about you, the other 2?
I do it from home, but I live in Wyndham.
I've got one in Topsum, one that does it from home in Wyndham, and I can't hear her. There's another one on, but we can't hear her. And she actually looks like she's doing it from home too, actually.
Yeah. Actually, I think I'm going to go from home. If we're supposed to have somebody else, if she doesn't come, I'm going next week. I'm going to be online too.
What was that? Excuse me.
It's so much easier than having to drive somewhere.
Doreen. What is Doreen's last name?
Bovin.
Bovin. Yeah, you have it right. Yeah. Yeah, and she sent me an email telling me to call you. I don't know that. This is only our 2nd week.
A phone number?
No, he wanted to know if she's on a Jabber account too.
She must be, because she's the instructor.
I want to say that hers. I thought hers was the Academy, Medical Academy, or Academy Medical.
Did you just get an email from her?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
That's why I'm on the phone with him. No, she asked us. She sent all of us an email to call you to have you hook us up to, and I can't look. I can't look because I'm talking to you on my cell phone, and my email is on my cell phone. I am, and so is Topsum, and there's 2 from home that are on. But the instructor is still not with us. It might be, you know.
We have a phone number. We have a phone number.
Does anybody remember? Did she say she was from Scarborough last week?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
We have a phone. I have a phone number for her.
She has a phone. We have a phone number for her if you would like that. Correct. No, we do not. I've seen the Academy come up a few times, but she never appears. You know how you get that ding, somebody's joining, and it tells you who it is? Well, the Academy has come up a few times, but she's never come up. Sure.
There you go. I guess we're out of luck, girls. time. Oh, this is ridiculous.
Do you have any way to access your email from where you are?
I don't have a computer here or anything.
Because I'm on my computer and I just went to my email and there's a link that you can click on in the email and it says that you can join, but it says it's just audio and it says make sure you're not also on the conference call. If you are, hang up. And then you click go. And so should I try hanging up and clicking go on that and seeing if I can hear her?
Yeah, try it, but I have no computer, so I'm out of luck.
Do you have your phone? Do you have a smartphone?
No. I don't have a computer. Well, I'll have to go home. If it works, come back on, and then I'll just go home. Oh, I gotta set up the whole Jabber account, because I don't have that. I don't have a Jabber account. That's why I was going to school. We're done.
And I still have the girls, but no instructor. Actually, I lost one.
The girl, Liz, she went to go link on the internet. I guess there's a link that says that you can have audio, but not visual. So she's gone to go check. There's Miss
So
Brittany.
somebody just signed on.
Miss Brittany.
Oh, that Brittany just signed on back on. Brittany failed. She just signed back on.
And Miss Liz, she went to go check that email site that was attached to.
And an author of more than 30 children's books, Giver, which has been made into a movie.
I'm back on.
Now we got the same lady from my class. She's right there, Gardner. Or she was there.
Oh, somebody in Gardner's there. Call
273 416 1500. But why?
I don't know.
She's in a hurry. Let's see.
Conference. Academy has joined. Oh, I think she actually might.
Okay, great.
Yep,
Oh,
there she is.
hi.
So Liz,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to go ahead. It seems like he has everyone else connected. go ahead and when you open up your Jabber.
Okay. All right.
Okay, you other ladies, hold on just one moment for me, okay?
Sure.
Okay, Liz, I'm going to share my desktop with you. So you can, when you open your Jabber, it gives you a place to type in a name and an address.
Yep, I actually, okay.
And do you have the bridge number to call in?
Is it the MCU2 at Network Main?
It's the 130.111.130.130.
No, I don't have that one. Could you say it again?
Yep, 130.111.130.130.
Okay.
So try that and
And
let
then
me.
just call that?
Yep, don't disconnect from any meeting yet. Go ahead and open up your Jabber and try it. I don't want to lose you.
It says call failed, the user could not, and then it closed out of it. I don't know what it said.
Okay, so do you have the network main number?
I do, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can't get you pulled in. You have your Jabber open?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Hi ladies, glad to see you all. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're going to work on getting Liz to join us, so hold on just a minute.
Hi, Laurie. This is Adult Education Office. I have opened yoga for beginners.
Doreen?
Yes, it is. Hi.
Oh, hi.
Can you do me a favor and pull Liz Marshall in?
Yeah, sure can.
She was, and then she got disconnected, and so her picture's sitting frozen on the screen.
Okay. Nope.
Great. Wonderful. Yep, Liz is in there. Wonderful.
No, she just left.
She just left.
Oh. Hold on, it looks like she got disconnected.
Hi, Allison. This is the Adult Education Office. I opened up more spots for yoga for beginners. So you can go back and register. I would do it as a week of
Sure.
She's back.
Okay. Join, but then it kicks her right back out again. I'm not sure what happens.
She was doing so good. She was the only one that was staying on.
Yeah.
There she is.
Ha! I called
Okay,
in
we have
myself.
a picture. We got her. Okay. Great, thank you. All right, bye-bye. All right, so I have Jackie in Mount Ararat, right? Purple shirt on, long hair, okay. All right, Jacqueline, do you have a cell phone?
I do.
Do you have it on you?
I do.
What's your number?
319-6170.
Okay, and then I know I have Liz. I got Liz. Let me just make sure. Liz, I have Liz's number. All right, and the lady with the headphones in. Who are you?
Her name is Brittany.
Brittany, okay. And I have Brittany's number. Perfect. All right. And then the other lady with long hair and glasses, you have the world on your over your shoulder.
Diane.
Diane. Okay.
And the
All
other
right.
lady in the corner was from Gardner. RSU1 or something. RSU was the beginning of her jabber name. RSU.
Okay, so Wyndham.
Oh, I guess. I don't know. I just remember seeing the RSU.
Did she leave?
I don't know if she was there.
Okay. All right. So then, Diane, do you mind
Yes.
giving me? Do you have a cell phone?
Yes, I do.
Can I have that?
754
45.
754 2057.
Okay, so I will send this out in an email. So all of you, pretty much, Jackie and Diane, you're using Jabber, or are you using a Tandberg or a laptop?
I'm on a
And-
laptop.
Here in the computer, but actually that lady never showed up today, Doreen, so I think instead of coming here, I'm just going to do Jabber from home. So tonight or tomorrow or over the weekend, I'm going to set myself up for Jabber.
Okay, then we can go ahead and test it, so let me know. And I'm trying to think, who else was supposed to be coming to Mount Ararat?
You said there was 2 in Auburn and 2 in Mount Ararat, but I haven't.
They told me no one is coming in Auburn. They didn't expect me.
Really?
Well, and I just soon do it. I'll do it from home too. I wanted to have the interaction with somebody beside me, but if there's no one going to be here, I'll do it from Jabber at home.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's perfect. I'm going to let them know that, okay? Because they don't want to have staff there if no one's going to be there.
Okay.
Right.
So Diane is going to do it from home, and Jackie is going to do it from home.
Yeah, as soon as I get out of class, I'll set myself up, and then if I have a problem, then we can try to get it straightened out.
Okay, great.
I should be
All
all
right.
set. I did it last week.
Yes, you did. That's right.
Right.
Didn't you have the dog in the background?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll say it on the lecture, but I will also put it in an email. We will have an emergency contingency if this happens again, because it looks like the only person using Tandberg or Jabber is, I think, Mickey, who was in Wyndham last week. So it doesn't look like she's there right now. That's that empty room that we see. And the other 2 ladies didn't tell me they weren't coming this week. Liz, is Liz on the line?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, Liz, last week you had no video. Okay, perfect.
I figured it out this week.
Okay, so she has video now. Excellent. Okay, and then Brittany, you're doing it from home? Okay. All right, so the emergency contingency will be using any meeting. So when you get home, disregard all those emails that I just flew off and sent you about, call this number, go here and join me using any meeting. Liz got it and she joined me until you guys got connected. So if this happens again with Network Maine, we will use any meeting, and it's another type of conferencing program that you just go out and connect. So I'm not sure if you have to download anything. I've been using it for so long I don't remember. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. And I went on today and they didn't make me download anything. And I've never
Okay,
used
perfect.
it before, so I don't think you have to download anything.
So you just simply clicked on the link I sent you and it brought you into the meeting, right?
Yeah, I clicked on the link and it told me to close out of any other, so that's why I closed out of Jabber. It told me to close out of any other conference calls.
Okay,
And
great.
it went right into it.
All right, wonderful. So that will be our emergency contingency. So anyone who is at a Jabber site or at a Tandberg site that means that they'll just end up having to watch the recorded session afterwards, because I can record it. I will tell you that when it rains, we tend to have more issues like this. And if you are joining me on your laptop or computer, make sure it's hardwired, not wireless. That is another thing that will cause problems for us or for you, okay? So, Liz, you said you got your books this afternoon. Brittany, did you get all your books? Okay. And Jackie and Diane, you had yours, right?
I have, yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you that, Doreen. You said something about doing our work study. This is the only book that I got. I never got like the work study book like Diane has, and some of the other people haven't either. I only got these 3 books. That's all I got. Nope.
Yeah, I didn't get that study guide part either.
This is all I got for my stuff. This is all I
Okay.
got. So if there's a work study, I didn't get it.
Okay. Give me a moment. Let me see here. All right. All right, so while I'm looking up some information on Evolve, what I'd like you to do is you can at least tell me who you Googled for who made a difference in healthcare that you chose. So we'll start with Jackie.
Okay. I got Percy Julian. He was born in Alabama in 1899 and died in 1975. He was an African American who was a pioneer for drugs like cortisone, steroids, and birth control. He attended school until 8th grade, but because of his race, he was not able to attend high school. He was presented with many challenges at every turn. He earned his PhD and is regarded as one of the most influential chemists in America. He attended night school at DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana, graduating first in his class with Phi Beta Kappa honors. After graduating, he went to Fisk University as a chemist until 1923. He received a scholarship to Harvard University to finish his master's degree. Harvard wouldn't allow him to pursue his doctorate because of his race, so he taught at black colleges before going to the University of Vienna, Austria, in 1931 to get his PhD. With his doctorate in hand, he returned to DePaul University. In 1935, he was internationally acclaimed for taking the calabar beans to create a drug treatment for glaucoma. Still, DePaul refused to make him a full professor. He left and applied for the prominent chemical companies, but was denied because he was black. Linden Company finally hired him, but only as a lab director until he invented the aereo foam. It says soy protein to put out oil and gas fires in World War II, as well as other soybean inventions. He continued his biomedical and discovered how to extract sterols from the soybean to make hormones progesterone and testosterone. He made cortisone used for rheumatoid arthritis. In 1953, he left Glidden to establish his own laboratory called Gillian Laboratories in 1954. He sold it in 1961, and he was one of the first black millionaires. He also founded a non-profit organization called Gillian Research Institute until he died in 1975 of liver cancer.
Okay. All right, hold on just a moment. I have our Scarborough student trying to connect. Hi, Ange. It's Doreen Bovin. We're trying to get you connected. Hi, Ange. Good evening. Are you still at Scarborough? Okay. Yep. Actually, I'm in it right now, so I will go ahead and send you the link, okay? All right, bye-bye. Okay, so she was calling to let me know she can't make it. Okay. All right, so I'm looking on Evolve right now to see what you have for anything to do with the study guide.
Then I have some other questions for you after, Doreen, when you get a chance. Later.
Sure, no problem. Let's see. All right, so I'm not finding anything to do with the study guide online. I apologize for that. I'll send Amy an email. So right now, none of you have the study guide, correct?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. All right, so Brittany, Liz, and Jacqueline don't have the study guide.
I don't think that lady in the RSU one has it either, because she's in my terminology class, and we were talking about it yesterday.
Okay. Okay. All right. You had a few other questions, Jackie.
I do. I don't know. I tried to take some of the tests that you had. The quizzes, I took those fine. I couldn't answer one question because the question was like covered where it says submit or reset, so I couldn't answer that one question. Then it said like an assessment. One of the other chapters was like mold or assessment, and I got like an F on that one. And I'll just use one of the questions was, what is the S in soap? So I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, this book doesn't have anything about the SOAP. This book doesn't have anything about the SOAP. So I'm like thinking, where the heck are they getting all this information? Am I like losing something? Because these are the only two books I have, and there were other questions that I couldn't answer. I got like an F on it because I didn't know where the questions were. Or what am I missing?
No, you're not missing anything. These are going to be practice right now. So it's going to be a way for you to check yourself to see, okay, this is where I am starting out. And then at the end, you'll have time to come back to some of these and practice them. So yes, I want you to take the practice ones, the CMAA practice exams. And it falls under the sample certification underneath each chapter on Evolve. So when you get to it, you're just going to click on it and do the study mode first if you want, so that you have an idea of what the assessment might include. And then go do the assessment mode. Right now, this is all practice. The only ones that really are going to matter are when you go and do the exams themselves underneath the chapter exams.
Or the quiz. Wasn't it said something about a quiz? That's not the correct one?
The chapter quiz underneath each chapter is just that. It's a quiz. The only thing I care about for grades is anything that shows up underneath chapter exam. And that's a section all by itself. If you look underneath each chapter on Evolve, each chapter has a chapter quiz, it has chapter review activities, it has an interactive effective rubrics, it has medical terminology audio file, and sample certification. Those are all practice.
Right. I think it was the
Practice.
sample certifications is where I went, and that's why I tried it. One was CMA and one was RMA.
Right, right. One is a certified medical assistant. One is a registered medical assistant. You are going for the CMA. So again, these are all practice. The grade that you're going to put on your assignment checkoff sheet is the one underneath chapter exams. Okay? Does that answer anyone else's question?
I did take the chapter exam for the first chapter, but
Okay.
I shouldn't have yet. I didn't have my books or anything. I don't even really know why I tried to do it. So now that I have my books, I'd like to have more time to practice and read the book myself and take my own notes. So if you could is there a way you can reset that for me?
Can you
Yes,
reset
please.
mine too as well, please, Miss Doreen?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yep. All right.
Doreen.
All right. That should take care of it. Yes, Diane.
I did send you an email on the Chapter 2 quiz of 5 or 6 numbers that I wanted you to check because, like, I answered it right, but I put doctor and they didn't ask for doctor.
I won't be able to
All
get
right,
to it
put
till
there.
this weekend.
That's fine. I just didn't know if you had received it or not.
Yes.
I was gonna say, because one of them was I put the whole entire name and they only wanted his last name.
Yeah, that's how particular Evolve is. So you just need to let me know that you've taken that exam and you want me to take a look at it. Again, just remember, I'm not going to be able to get to them until the weekend.
That's fine. I just didn't know if you got that email or not.
Yes. Also,
Okay.
in pencil, make a note on your checkoff sheet of your grade. Because if for some reason we have an issue with Evolve, I want you to make sure you have your grade, okay?
Oh, Doreen, I have a question for you. When looking over that syllabus that you sent me, do we have to send, like, all the stuff with it too, or just the sheet that had just your name and what your grades were?
Just the sheet with the grades and your name. All right. Okay. So until we get the study guides, I'm not going to go over any of the answers in the study guide right now because obviously if you didn't have them, you couldn't do the work. So we're going to actually just jump right into the book, the textbook. So let's start with chapter 3. And that's page 35. While we're doing that, Diane, who did you choose for someone who's made a difference in healthcare?
I chose Felix Hoffman. He was born in Germany in 1868. He went to school to be a pharmacist, and then decided that he wanted to broaden his knowledge and become a chemist. So he did that, and he graduated in 1891 and went to work for Fred Bear and Company. And in 1894, working as a chemist for them, he combined a few chemicals which I can't pronounce, which formed aspirin.
Okay.
And it took them 2 years to test and trial, and when they finally were able to put that on the market, it actually was a powder in a glass jar. and is now used in a lot of other medications at this point. But he was the first one to come up with a pain-relieving, fever-lowering, anti-inflammatory substance. And that all came out in 1897 is when they finally produced that.
Okay.
And when he died, no one knew he had been the inventor of aspirin.
Interesting. That's a good one. How about you, Brittany? Did you have a chance to do that?
She doesn't have a voice. We haven't been able to hear her.
Okay. Okay. How about you, Liz?
Yeah, I did Francis Crick. He was born in 1916, and he originally started out studying physics, but in 1947, after World War II, he decided to change over to biology, and he went to Cambridge to study biology, and in 1949, he joined the Medical Research Council unit. Then in 1953, along with John Watson, he discovered the double helix structure of DNA strands, and his work contributed to ideas about genetic codes and led to an explanation of the process behind the replication of genes. And in 1962, he became the director of Cambridge University's Molecular Biology Laboratory.
Very good. Excellent. All right. So for chapter 3, it's all about the medical assisting profession on page 35 in your textbook. So I mentioned last week about making sure you read the scenario at the beginning. So you're going to see that Sandra Ramirez is a constant throughout the book. She's a single mother who has decided on medical assisting as her career. She's always been interested in the field and wants a job that will allow her to spend evenings and weekends with her 3-year-old son. And the idea of working in a physician's office really appeals to her. So she's applied to a school that's close to her apartment and her daycare provider. She plans to attend day classes and work part-time after school until it's time to pick up her son. So Sandra is very excited about her new career and has set several goals for her training. First, she hopes to attain perfect attendance, and second, she would like to graduate with honors. So she has budgeted her study time and plans to ask her instructors during the first 2 weeks of school for suggestions on how she can better prepare for classes and exams. And I think I touched upon that part as far as evolve. Really, the best thing that you can do when you have some time after you've done the chapter and you've done the study guide, once we get you your study guides, is to just go into evolve and go underneath each chapter and see what extra activities you have to play around with. I know with medical terminology, they have some more fun games than I do in CMA and billing and coding, but still they do have a few things that will help get you prepared for the national exam, okay? So, vocabulary on page 36 is, as I said from the very beginning, I don't necessarily need you to memorize these vocabulary words. You will find them as things in your study guides. And it's good that you kind of remember that you've seen them, because if I happen to call on you in class, you can remember where they are or have read them and pull them from the file cabinet of your memory. So anything that's highlighted within the chapters is usually a good thing to highlight. So if it's a bold text, definitely I would highlight it. what I'd like to do is most of the critical thinking applications. Those are the things that really make up the national exam. And then once you do get your study guides, we'll go over what I want you to do in them. So for now, I will just assign you a few separate things until we can get your study guides. I might even just rip some pages out of my book and just scan them in and email them to you so we have something to do right now. So medical assisting profession, basically we're caregivers, okay? We end up being caregivers. And we really are that already as women, as mothers, as daughters, especially if we're the oldest. It's basically part of society has, taught us that we are the caregivers. So we are assisting patients in every possible way. And being a nice, wonderful caregiver is key in medical assisting. It's being very nurturing. The history of medical assisting on page 36, it also involves administrative and clinical skills. The training actually began in the 1940s. And medical assisting is very respected in the healthcare field. It allows you a lot of training opportunities. So you want to be looking, when you're looking for a job, you want to see how do they list these jobs. It might be medical assisting, it might be customer support representative, a CSR, it could be registration person. As a medical assistant, you really can do a lot. In the scope of practice for a medical assistant on page 37 in your textbook, the duties will vary from office to office, even within the office. You might be strictly administrative. You might also want to learn clinical, and then you could become a certified clinical medical assistant as well. What you're learning here in this course is an administrative assistant. So as a CMA, you will be learning administrative duties in this class, but keep in mind that you also could learn clinical ones as well. And I do touch upon them in this class, so we'll go over some of those. Some of the administrative duties, well, you greet patients, just like we greet people every day. You would greet a patient. Get basic registration information. Some bookkeeping and filing, answering phones, handling correspondence, and scheduling appointments. So on page 38, a career in medical assisting, these would be your administrative duties. So, Critical Thinking Application 3-1. Sandra is not sure whether she would enjoy administrative or clerical assisting more. How can she begin to explore both avenues during her classroom training or during her externship? What do you think, Liz?
Well, she could start by deciding what type of learner she is, like from the last chapters we did. Some people are more hands-on, and some people would rather be doing the, paperwork and stuff like that.
Correct. Absolutely. And how do you think she could explore the medical specialties and determine what areas might be of interest to her as a career? What do you think, Diane?
She could research the different physicians and what their practices and what they do, and see which one she's more interested in.
Exactly. All right. So, some of the clinical duties. Some of the clinical duties, we would prepare the patients and the equipment for exams. We might perform some basic testing procedures, collect, and prepare laboratory specimens. We might even do inventory and order supplies, or perform x-rays and take some patient histories. Those would be some of the clinical duties that you might, learn. Having a career in medical assisting, it is flexible and adaptable. You learn valuable skills. You also see increased employment opportunities as well for recent high school graduates. These are many of the non-traditional students that we see who might go into medical assisting because they're really not sure what they want to do. And this seems like a really easy pace to get into, a skill set that's easy enough to get into. Over the next decade, you will see a 31% increase just for the profession. You're going to see an increase in group practices and clinics, and a lot of support personnel is going to be needed. So hopefully there will be a lower job turnover instead of an increase in job turnover. Okay, let's talk about hiring untrained individuals. We're still all on page 38 here. When you hire untrained individuals, costly errors could be made. And when you have someone who's untrained, there's more supervision that's required. So that means that there's less time for the physicians to perform their duties if in fact the physician is the one training you. So getting a background in your duties and responsibilities for your profession is really important. So when you're choosing a position, what do you consider? What are some of the things that you consider, Jackie?
Benefits and retirement.
Okay, how about drive time or vacation days? What kind of facility you're working in? Those kinds of things. All right, let's talk about critical thinking 3-2. Sandra knows that she needs certain benefits as a single mother. What might she need to look for in a job after she graduates? What do you think, Diane?
Medical insurance for her and her son. Probably paid holidays and
Closeness to the hospital or wherever. So you don't want to be too far where it's going to be an hour trip instead of, 10, 15 minutes or whatever.
Right, close to home.
Yes. Yep, good. All right, so let's talk about professional appearance. So, Brittany, I know you probably can't, you don't have audio, but you can hear me. So it looks like you have a scrub top on, is that correct? Okay. So for a certified medical assistant, I'm just going to guess, Brittany might do some clinical stuff as well. And if she's coming in contact with patients, depending on the practice where she's working, they might indicate that scrubs are more preferable because they never know what they're going to be handling, and you really want to get scrubs dirty rather than your nice clothes. I know that when I'm filling in somewhere in a practice, there are times where I will wear scrub top and usually black slacks, usually just comfortable black slacks, not anything really dressy because I don't know if I'm going to be doing ultrasound. I don't want ultrasound gel to squirt out and get all over my nice slacks. So I'll definitely wear something that is comfortable, kind of like cottony spandex, not sweatpants or anything like that, but just Lands' End has them. It's a nice, what do they call them? They're just nice, comfortable cotton pants. As a CMA, as a administrative assistant, something like Jackie has on might be okay. Is it a dress top, Jackie? Like a business casual? Okay,
Yeah.
Perfect. Yep, that would be fine. I've got a sweater on right now because it's a little chilly, but I would probably add maybe a turtleneck with it or even a collared shirt. Diane, what do you have on?
I have a sweatshirt on.
Okay, so no sweatshirts. And how about you, Liz?
Yeah, I have a sweatshirt on over my shirt too because I'm chilly where I am.
Okay, so you kind of have the idea. Professional appearance is important, and it's really going to depend where you end up because, again, scrubs might be the norm, or administrative assistants might have more of a business casual. You also want to have, a healthy appearance, some good grooming, no facial piercings. So really a nice, suitable dress, okay? Some people will ask you to cover your tattoos if you have tattoos, or take out the piercings. So just pay attention. All right. All right, over to page 40. Education and training, classroom training. So some of the programs out there range from 7 months to 2 years in duration. All right. So I think if you were to go to Seacoast Career Schools, I don't remember if they have the CMA program, but you're looking at probably a year, I think, to 18 months. If you've shopped around, you know that it can be anywhere from in between this time frame.
The adult ed office, please.
So the modules that you learn in these programs are aimed to provide you in the clinical, the administrative, and the theoretical areas. So those 2-year programs probably include all of that. You're specifically in this course for the admin part. If you were doing some of the clinical and theoretical, you might include a laboratory. You might have some hands-on experience in the laboratory. I perform the clinical side in chiropractic offices, so I am trained in the clinical aspect as far as setting up the room for exams. We don't do any type of laboratory stuff, so there's no blood drawing or specimen taking for anything, but you just want to know how to do those things, because you don't just bring someone in a room and shove them in a room and say, hold on, doctor will be with you shortly, okay? There really is a scripting or a process to take that patient from the waiting room and get them into the treatment room. So, critical thinking application 3-3. How can CMAA build a positive, I don't know what happened to Diane, nurturing relationship with her instructors? What do you think, Jackie?
I think she can ask them to help more, ask if there's anything she can do to help. The more that she learns her job, the better she's going to be at it, and she's going to feel more comfortable. And if you feel more comfortable, it's just going to be natural, because then you're going to know what you're wanting and what you have to do.
Excellent. Okay, and what should Sandra do if she has difficulty in the classroom or if her grades begin to fall? What do you think, Liz?
She could talk to her instructors and not be afraid to be honest with them, but also try and study more and get the work done for the class.
Great. So, this is what I'm going to tell all of you, and we're in the beginning of this class, so it's really important. I can't help you if I don't know what's going on. And I understand that if there's just some stuff you don't want to talk about, if for some reason, as we get through the class, you're having a hard time, or you feel like you're falling behind, or you just don't get it, please reach out to me sooner rather than later so that I can help you get through this course, successfully and not feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. Because the sooner I know, the sooner that I can work with you to make this, really count and be a success for you. If I don't know and you fall off the earth for some reason, I don't get emails, you don't answer my calls, or I don't see you doing any work on Evolve for a while, I'm going to start wondering what's going on. It's much easier for me to help get you to where you need to be if I know sooner. Okay? So promise me that if something happens, you just can tell me, hey, Doreen, I've got stuff going on in my life right now. I need to take a break. Can you check back with me in a couple weeks, or what can we do to make this work? And let's set a game plan, okay? Because I think you're all taking terminology, or you've finished terminology, and sometimes life and classwork all just get mucked up, and you wonder when you're going to have time to do everything. But that's what I'm here to help you with. So just reach out to me, okay? All right, externships. If you're not working, I would suggest that you try to find some place that you can volunteer, whether it is in a hospital setting or an office setting, someplace where you're able to give, 5 hours a week, 2 to 5 hours a week, where you can watch or shadow someone in the administrative position. Just be able to, observe and learn, and if they're able to, answer some questions, that would be great. Over on page 41, we're still talking about externships here. If you are doing an externship, don't ever argue with staff members. Do not form a romantic relationship with any patient or staff member. And do not use sample drugs at the office. Critical thinking application. If Sandra has any difficulty on her externship, whom should she contact? Jackie?
Her supervisor, because she's the one that's responsible for her, and she can, like yourself, help somebody and trying something different or seeing if she can help her. So it would be the supervisor.
Okay, great. And Jackie, what are you doing for work right now?
I work at FHC in Bowdoin. We do neurological. We make those prongs that go for people with epilepsy, like plaster things, and anything that has to do with neurological products and things like that. It's pretty interesting.
Okay. And Liz, what do you do?
I just work at Dunkin' Donuts right now.
Oh, that's right. I was going to come through Dunkin' Donuts so I could get coffee. That's what I remember last week. Okay. And Brittany, you'll have to send me an email and tell me what you do.
She's been writing everything on paper.
Okay. CNA. Okay, great. Excellent. That's what I thought. So continuing education in the medical assisting field, you want to keep up with the rapid field changes. And it's not just in certified medical assistant that changes happen. It's in medical billing and coding too. I was posting some payments today from an insurance company on some members, and what I was able to bill a few months ago and get paid, I can't get paid now because they denied the code saying it's no longer covered. So things change, at the drop of a dime. It's crazy, and it's pretty much anywhere you go. Continuing education in the certified medical assistant field, there are not currently any CEUs required to maintain your certification. In the state of Maine, you actually do not have to be certified. So this certification offers you a national certification, and then you get the certificate from the academy that indicates that you did finish the course. So some of the credentialing requirements, basically you will get professional organization membership. If you go on and Google medical administrative assistants in the state of Maine, there actually is a website for it. And there is a PIN certified medical assistant through the American Association of Medical Assistants, which is out of Chicago, Illinois. Now on Evolve, you saw that there are 2 exams underneath the practice exams. One is for CMA and one is for RMA. So what's the difference? The difference is the examination consult organizations. There are 2 major differences: the examination and then the cost. So a CMA exam is $125, whereas the other one is $250. It's a matter of cost for graduates versus non-graduates. You'll see at the top of page 44 on the left, the medical assistant has a creed. I believe in the principles and purposes of the profession of medical assisting. I endeavor to be more effective. I aspire to render greater service. I protect the confidence entrusted to me. I am dedicated to the care and well-being of all patients. I am loyal to my physician employer. I am true to the ethics of my profession, strengthened by compassion, courage, and faith. Did you have trouble, Diane?
Yes, I got booted off and they couldn't sign back on. And they couldn't remember their passwords. I had to sign in my own and call and have them hook me up. So I'm still at school, but under my own account.
Okay, that was nice that they let you do that. So we're on the page 44 in the textbook.
Okay.
So at the end of every chapter, you're going to see patient education and legal and ethical issues. And basically, when I talk about patient education, this is something I usually talk about just about every class. Wherever you end up, you really want to be able to offer the patient education. What do I mean by that? All right, so Brittany, you're familiar with this as a CNA. You get patients who might ask, well, why do I need to take this medicine? And as a CNA, I don't know if you can answer that question. If you can't, you probably say, well, that's a good question. Let me get the nurse or the doctor and they'll answer that for you. As an administrative assistant, we probably can't answer that either. But what I will say to you is have information or resources at your fingertips in order to assist patients. So if you have pamphlets in the practice that talk about people who might need to have an x-ray, make sure you've read that pamphlet so you know what says in it. if you are supposed to go and have some kind of CAT scan, and what's the CAT scan for, and there's a handout. Basically, what would you want to know as the patient? Think about it that way. What would I want to know as the patient? And then try to think about how can I learn more to better be able to assist that patient or any patient. At the front desk, it might simply be that you know about insurances, or you know how the patient can contact the insurance. I'll give you a good example for today. I'm covering as front desk at an office, and I had a patient come in who was curious about her secondary insurance. The provider hasn't been paid for several months, and so I simply had the time and I got on the phone to the secondary insurance with the patient standing right there, and I was able to ask questions about what was going on with the status of these claims, and I was able to help put the patient's mind at ease as to the processing and how that was going to be taken care of. Now, you might not have the time to do that, but what you can do is assure the patient that if you can't take care of it, you're going to pass it on to your insurance person, and one of you will get back to them as soon as possible so that you can give them some peace of mind. Patient education is really about what does the patient need to know? How can I help the patient be more comfortable with the information that they need to know? Does that make sense to all of you? Okay, good. All right. So, critical thinking application 3-6 on page 44. Why is it important for Sandra to obtain one of the medical assisting certifications after graduation? What do you think, Diane?
I think it will be easier to find a job if you have at least one of them.
It's quite possible. Yes, it is. All right. All right. So I'm just going to ask some questions about what we just read in chapter 3. And it's not, don't worry about where to look for it. Just if you know the answer, you know the answer. Name the 2 major areas of medical assisting practice. What do you think they are, Jackie?
Administrative and clerical.
Yes, administrative and clerical. All right. Liz, give me an example of cross-training. What do I mean by cross-training?
Having training in multiple fields and being able to either do the administrative or the clinical.
Yep, very good. So let's talk about professional appearance. Professional appearance, I'm going to ask you if it's acceptable, yes or no, and you can say yes or no. Hoop earrings, Diane.
No.
Sam thinks about that one.
Why do you think?
Well, I wanted to say what size.
See, I told you.
Well, if they're big and gaumy, they're just not very professional looking, I don't think. I only wear 2 posts.
Well, not only that, if you're wearing any type of dangly earring, and especially if you're dealing with the clinical side, you never know if you're going to get caught with a patient, you know, if you're assisting a patient or something, and you don't want to worry about it. So no dangly or hoop earrings, really. If you're just sitting at the desk, you know, if it's presentable and professional, I would not still wear hoop earrings, though. How about clear nail polish? What do you think, Liz?
Clear now. I'm not sure. I think it would be okay as long as it's clear.
Actually, no.
No? Okay.
No.
Actually, no.
Now, why is that? Because you can't see it anyways.
I know, isn't that weird? But they're saying no nail polish. You should still, keep your nails kind of kept, not too.
I thought I had read that it was okay.
Yeah.
Did I not
I
read
don't know.
that?
I think it depends on where you work, honestly. It's not going to be something that's on your national exam. How about scrub tops?
Yes.
Jackie.
Yes.
Okay, how about facial piercings, Liz?
Nope.
Perfect. How about excessive jewelry, Diane?
No.
Heavy eye makeup?
No.
No.
Street clothes?
No.
How about jeans?
No. Unless they're having a special day.
Right.
Right. Unless they're having a special day. All right. All right, so for the rest of Chapter 3, I'm going to suggest that everyone just use the extra activities underneath Chapter 3 on Evolve. Okay. All right, so let's move on to Chapter 4, page 48 and 49. And Jackie, would you mind filling us in on the scenario for Chapter 4, please?
Just read it to you.
Yes.
All right. Karen wanted to work in the medical field for most of her adult life. She studied very hard in high school and graduated with honors. She volunteered at a local hospital and then worked as a server in a restaurant for 3 years. She enrolled in medical assistant classes. After her externship, she asked to continue as a regular employee at the family practice in her area. Karen strives to perform all of her duties professionally and compassionately. She maintains a professional image for patients and coworkers. She has found it difficult to learn to be professional at all times and shows compassion to patients, though just the classroom experience. However, she knew that these were important aspects of her job and was able to gain valuable experience in those areas during her externship. Because of this is her first job in the medical field, she wants to make a good impression on her employees and to be a team player. Throughout most of Karen's training as a medical assistant, her grandmother was confined to a rehabilitation center after a stroke. Although she has progressed well with the treatment, Karen is the only relative who lives close to the rehabilitation center, and her family depends on her to check on her grandmother from time to time. Karen enjoys spending time at the center reading to her grandmother because they are close. Still, Karen realizes that the stroke has caused permanent damage and her grandmother's health seems to be declining.
Okay. So, over on page 49, what is meant by professionalism? Diane?
That the conduct and qualities characterized by or conforming to the technical and ethical standards of the profession, exhibiting a courteous, conscientious, and generally business-like manner in the workplace.
Yes, we end up seeing more of a conservative attitude for professionalism. All right. Work ethics. Work ethics, these are based on hard work and diligence. It's also helpful to display initiative and reliability. We want to always arrive on time and be aware of our office policies. Some characteristics of professionalism over on page 50. Loyalty. What is meant by loyalty, Jackie?
To have, like faithfulness or allegiance to the cause, ideal, customs, institutions, products, go to work on time, always try to help.
Yep. How about initiative? What do you think, Liz?
Initiative is, taking your own, look for opportunities to help other people out, and assist without having to be asked.
Right, right. And how about attitude, Diane? Over on page 51.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes. What about attitude?
Attitude. Should try to have a positive attitude. No matter what kind of day you're having, be courteous to everyone. Try not to bring your home problems to work.
Right. So tonight's class and the delay getting started is a perfect example of attitude, okay? We could have all joined the class with this frustrating, angry, disconcerted attitude, right? And I'm sure we were all feeling that way. And as bad as it was, and frustrating as it was so much easier and nicer to just come together as a group and still have fun. Because I like to have fun in my class. And I've learned that I have no control over technology whatsoever. So if we can just accept that, class will happen one way or the other, we're going to have a good time. So yes, when you go to work, you leave your stuff at the door, and then when you go home, you leave your work at work. I was actually just at a seminar this past weekend, and the speaker came from North Dakota. She was or is a chiropractor and was actually talking about staff and leaving the stuff at the door. And she said in her practice, they actually have a red dot made out of construction paper that's right on the inside wall as you walk through the practice. And everyone, when they walk in for the day, they hit that red dot, and it's like a sign or that they've just left all their home stuff at home. I thought that was kind of neat. So yes, attitude is really important. It's probably one of the most important things that you can bring to your profession is your attitude. Some of the other things you see in the book on page 50 and 51 is, flexibility, credibility, confidentiality, courtesy, and dependability. You definitely want to be aware of all of those things. You will definitely be trained on confidentiality because we'll be talking about it later, but we all know about HIPAA. Okay? So critical thinking application 4-3. How can Karen show her initiative on the job? What types of things could she do on the job to show initiative? What do you think, Jackie?
She could help with registering people, patients coming in. She could clean a room for somebody. If the person just left and they're busy, they could clean the room so the next person could come in. a couple of things like that.
Yep. Just kind of see, who needs a little helping hand and kind of just jump right in. I do want to talk a little bit more about confidentiality on the left-hand side on page 51 down near the bottom. When we talk about confidentiality, we are talking about using information of the patient just for patient care. We want to make sure that we are verifying the person's right to see the information if in fact they want to see it. We want to make sure that we get a signed consent form for the third party viewing. And we never want to share patient information with family unless we are given permission. Now, before, we used to be able to share patient information with the family all the time. And just because the patient is, the family member is standing there with the patient, you should really ask the patient in front of the family member, is it okay for me to talk about your condition or situation in front of this family member? That isn't how it used to be, but that's really how it is now. Because I don't want you to share the patient information. We talked about attitude. I'm not going to go over that again. Obstructions to professionalism. Well, we already touched upon that a little bit. Personal baggage or personal problems can be obstructions to professionalism. Turn the page over to 52. Rumors. Critical thinking application. It is often difficult to keep from thinking about a problem while you are working. How can Karen do this if she is concerned about a grandmother who is critically ill? Well, what do you think, Liz?
She could, try to focus on work while she's there, try to have a positive outlook, and know that she has to deal with it when she leaves work.
Good. All right. Rumors in the grapevine. Office politics. Love that one. Karen has a friend who works in a video store a few doors down from her office. Her friend has started stopping in daily on her lunch hour to chat with Karen. How can Karen politely discourage this? What do you think, Jackie?
Well, I'm sorry, Julie, but, I enjoy our time together, but I need to take care of my own stuff. And, if you are planning on coming over, give me a call first so I can make the time. But I have things to do, and like I said, I'm sorry, but I need to do what I need to do. Kind of being honest, depending on what you need to do or whatever. She should at least call you first.
That's right. Personal phone calls at work. You should tell your family and friends that unless it's an emergency. I mean, most places of business allow some personal phone calls. You just have to know what is the policy. Office politics. There's a positive or a negative strategy. You don't want to get caught up in the negative strategy. You want to avoid underhanded techniques, because if this happens, you could result in a loss of coworker or supervisor support. So just be careful. Some professional attributes on page 53. Teamwork. Teamwork is really important. I like working as a team because that means that my job gets that much easier, especially when we're all working as a team. Time management, work smarter, not harder. Set aside your day. Figure out your day. Take one day, pick a day, any day of the week, and just write down what you do in that one day. Wave your arms. And you'd be amazed at what you might be able to reorganize for your time management of a day. It's pretty interesting. That's one of the things I do when I go into a practice is I have the staff do what I call a time audit. What do they do with their time throughout the day? And then we come up and we figure out just exactly how much time they can reorganize so that they actually free up some time to do other things or become more efficient in how they're doing things. Prioritizing is simply deciding which tasks are most important. So really you can use alphabet to do it, or you can use numbers 1 through 10. Constantly, make a list, and when you're done certain tasks, they come off the list and you start a new list, and you just keep reprioritizing or reordering the to-do list. What is insubordination, Liz?
That would be refusing to do something that you're asked to do or going against your supervisor's orders.
And you don't want to do that, right?
Nope.
All right. Setting goals. Setting goals is what you want to do. What do you want to accomplish? And you can include all areas of your life when you do this. You might end up with a couple different lists. But what do you think are some goals that Karen might set regarding her behavior on the job? What do you think, Diane?
To be timely, to be in on time, to try to be organized so that she can get things done in a timely manner.
That's good. When you set your goals, for any of us, they should be measurable and specific. And if you actually need to write down the steps detailing how you're going to get there, then do so. But you should be determined and persistent to meet your goals and reach your goals. And sometimes if you get a little off course, then you just take a step back and you rethink what it is you want to do. So, moving down to knowing the facility and its employees, turn over to page 54. So, it's important to know the workers in the facility and how can you assist them in referring the patient to the right person. How can you express appreciation? So knowing who is in the office, and when a patient asks for something, who do you direct them to? Okay? Documentation. Jackie, tell me a little bit about documentation and what do we need to be careful of with documentation?
It's going to be legible. You have to have neat handwriting so other people can know what you were trying to say. You have to complete all the entries, make sure that it's all right. You have the address, verified the insurance. Just making sure that everything, you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's.
Perfect. Exactly. All right. How about note-taking? What do you think about note-taking, Diane? What's important about note-taking?
You should always have a pad of paper, a pencil with you to make sure that you don't forget to do something that you were told to do or not remember the right prescription that you were told to write down or
Yes.
to document.
When I'm training someone, I want to see a pad of paper and a pen. I want to see that person taking notes, because no one, and not even me, can remember everything the first time they're trained. There are some people who are really good visual people, and I'm sure that they can learn visually, but unless you are working in that career, that profession already, you don't have the stuff sitting in the back of your brain just waiting for it to jump out. It's really important, no matter where you go, to have a pad of paper and be taking notes about what you're going to be learning.
Can you tell that to my boss? I had a day and a half to learn my job. I have my pen and paper, and he tells me to put my pen and paper to watch first, and then the next day take a note. And I'm like, I need to write, and then the next day I'll do it and watch, because I'll have time to process that, but he won't let me take a paper to learn my job. And I wish you'd tell him that, because I do. That's how I learn. And
Yeah.
I'll sit there and he'll like, no, don't write, watch. But I'm hands-on. I gotta touch it. I gotta feel it. I gotta do it.
Well, you tell him that.
I do. But it's not worth fighting for. You know what I mean? It's not worth fighting, because I don't want him mad. I just put the pen down and I watch, but then I think about it, and I try to think of how he did it, and then I'm missing a step somewhere in between, and it's frustrating. I'd rather write it down, do it, and then it's over with. But he won't let me do that. I have to have it. I have to do it. I have to see it. I got to do it, and then I'm happy.
Yeah.
He's not like that. He won't let me do it, and I don't know why.
Okay. Well, sometimes that happens, but I would rather see, when I'm training someone, that you have a notebook. Because if you don't have a notebook, what that's telling me is that you really don't have any interest in this job. It's just a place for you to come and get a paycheck. When you show me that you're taking notes, it shows me that you're taking the initiative to actually learn the position. And that means more than you standing there and just, listening to what I have to say. Because then I have to repeat myself, because you didn't write it down and you really didn't get it when I told it to you. And that's more frustrating for me. All right, documentation, note-taking. All right, interpersonal skills. Interpersonal skills on page 54. These are pretty paramount in working with patients. Communicating effectively is very key to being successful here. When you're speaking to patients and providing them with information, remember that most of them do not have a medical background, and they do not understand many of the phrases that we use in the medical community. So try to avoid medical jargon, so to speak, and be patient and be courteous. Substance abuse. A lot of employees in medical facilities, you want to avoid drug and alcohol abuse. This is basically repeated and excessive use of a substance. Some places, more often than not, screen you before you're hired. They will do routine drug screenings. If you are dependent on anything, it can cause life-threatening mistakes. So this can damage your career. So you really want to pay close attention, and if you have a problem, let someone know so that you can get help. That type of stuff. Page 55, patient education. As I said earlier, every chapter is going to end with patient education and legal and ethical issues. Always be patient and courteous when you explain instructions. Don't talk down to the patients. They're not completely stupid. They just do not understand medical jargon. So you want to spell it out for them again, like you would want it spelled out for you. I was helping my mother-in-law buy a car probably a month or so ago, and I went to the dealership or the car place with her, and I said to the gentleman, I said, treat her like your mother. What would you want your mother driving? So basically, when you're explaining to the patient what they need to know, think of it as your parents, as your child. How would you explain it to them? So be very patient and careful with your instructions, but be professional and helpful. Always ask a patient if they have any questions before they leave, and make sure that you are maintaining privacy. Okay, with the legal and ethical issues, confidentiality is the most important aspect of our professionalism. You only want to release patient information with permission. If you release it without permission, that is unethical and illegal. Okay? So, the summary of our scenario. Diane, can you read that for me on page 56?
Karen is happy to be employed in a family practice in which providing quality patient care is paramount. She is learning to be careful of what she says and to remain focused on the patient instead of any difficulty she may be having. Karen knows it is her responsibility to be a team player and to assist the other staff members as much as possible. She maintains a good attitude, even when personal issues could distract her from her duties. Karen gets a strong sense of pride from being a member of the medical profession. She is meticulous about presenting a neat appearance and arrives on time for each workday. She always asks others whether they need help, and when she has any extra time throughout the day, Karen looks forward to a long relationship with her employer. The rewards she feels as a member of the health team are second to none. Although Karen is concerned about her grandmother's health, those concerns must be minimal intrusive on her work duties and her attitude towards her patients and coworkers. By taking time to speak with her supervisor and explaining the situation with her grandmother, Karen takes a proactive role in ensuring that the supervisor understands the pressures Karen is facing. Most supervisors are sympathetic and understanding when issues outside the practice affect employees. However, this should not happen on a regular basis. By encouraging Karen to call and check on her grandmother periodically, the supervisor helps Karen to feel more confident and less distracted during the day. Because she has found her supervisor to be a supportive ally, Karen can relax and carry out her duties professionally and competently throughout the workday. Karen puts the patient first, and this is a fine example of both professionalism and patient compassion.
Okay, very good. All right, so let's go over a little bit of vocabulary from chapter 4. What is procrastination, Jackie?
Putting off tomorrow what you could do today.
Very good. What is reproach, Diane?
An expression of rebuke or disapproval, a cause or occasion of blame, discredit, or disgrace.
What is competence, Liz?
Competence is having the adequate or requisite capabilities.
Right? And professionalism, Jackie.
The conduct of qualities characterized by confronting the technical and ethical standards of a profession, exhibiting a courteous conscience and general business-like manner in the workplace.
All right, how about discretion, Diane?
The quality of being discreet, having to show good judgment or conduct, especially in speech.
How about characteristics, Jackie?
The distinguishing traits, qualities, and properties.
Demeanor, Liz.
Your behavior towards others and your outward manner.
Initiative, Diane.
Energy or aptitude to cause or Yeah, right. Facilitate the start of something or to cause something to happen.
Okay. All right. And insubordination, Jackie.
It's what disobedience to authority.
And how about, let's do some short answers. Give me a few characteristics of a professional medical assistant. Diane.
To be courteous, conscientious,
Flexibility, attitude. Okay, what are 5 obstructions to professionalism? Give me just a couple, Jackie.
Taking your family to home, family business to work.
Yep.
I would say your clothing, making sure you have the correct clothing. Making sure you speak slowly to the customer and treat them with respect.
Yep. Okay, Liz, define teamwork in your own words?
Teamwork is working together with the people that you work with to have an outcome that benefits all of you.
Okay. What does teamwork mean to you, Jackie?
Working together, helping each other, making sure that the projects get done by the end of the day.
Okay. What does teamwork mean to you, Diane?
Teamwork means to me that it makes everyone's job easier if we all work together.
Very good. All right, here's some practicing professional behavior. I'm going to read the scenario. And you're going to tell me how Karen might deal with it, okay? So this is practicing professional behavior. Karen has developed a friendship with Angela, who has a wonderful personality, but does not always do her share in the family practice clinic where they work together. Dr. Rabinowitz tells Karen that Angela is going to be terminated on Friday, and she asks Karen to take over some of Angela's until a replacement is found. How can Karen demonstrate loyalty to her employer and to her friend Angela in this situation? What do you think, Diane?
She can't say anything to Angela about her losing her job because that's just not loyal to the company. She may want to try to talk her into not making any big purchases right now, just to wait and come up with some reason for it, other than she will be losing her job.
Yes, because you need to reinforce your loyalty to the employer before your loyalty to the friend. And that's really hard. All right. Next scenario. Martin Smith is a patient who always disrupts the clinic. He constantly complains about everything from the moment he enters until the moment he leaves. Karen is at the desk when he arrives to check out and pay his bill. When she tells him that he has a previous balance from a claim that his insurance did not pay, he argues that Karen filed the claim incorrectly. Karen is not in charge of filing insurance claims and did not handle any part of the claim in question. How can she be courteous to this patient? What do you think, Jackie?
Sorry, Mr. Martin. I'm not the person that's in charge of that. I would be more than glad to get the person that is, and they can answer any of the questions. We can also send you another copy of your bill and what the insurance paid, so you have an idea of what's been paid and what the balance is done, or owed, or due, or whatever.
Yep, that's a good start. Basically, we don't want to attack or argue with the patient. We really want to find the patient who can help them, find the person who can help them, try to direct them to that person, and just make sure that it's handled as calmly as possible.
But you don't know if the person that really handles that, if they're going to be able to talk to him. So you've given them that avenue, but you're also saying that you can give them a copy of the bill, and then that way they can see what's been paid, what's not been paid, and what they owe. Sometimes
Right.
it's useful more than speaking to somebody.
Right. Yep. Okay. Karen works in the office laboratory. She is often asked questions about insurance and billing that she must refer to other personnel. How should Karen efficiently request information or assistance for the patient from other office personnel? Well, I'm going to kind of answer this one because I know that patients don't like to be redirected or transferred from one person to another while looking for the answers. So, Karen should, as professionally as possible, try to assist the patient, like Jackie was saying earlier, by contacting the right staff member to handle the issue and making sure that both the patient connects with that person right then and there, if at all possible, or at least take the patient's name and number and the reason why they're questioning the bill so that that other staff person can then follow up to make sure that the patient's questions are answered accordingly. I will always try and say to the patient, have a seat right now. If you have time, have a seat, and I will go and get that person for you. And I'll say the name and what their duty is in the office. I try to take care of it in the moment as much as possible. Now, if the patient's calling in and they don't understand what's going on, I will even suggest that they make an appointment to come in and talk to the billing specialist so that they can get their questions answered. All right, Karen and her fiance ended their relationship last week. How can she deal with personal stressors while she is in the workplace? What do you think, Liz?
She can try her hardest to keep a positive attitude about it. If she absolutely needs to, let her supervisor know, just so that they know, she's dealing with something else. But try to keep a positive attitude while she's at work.
Yes.
And not let it affect how she treats the patients or her coworkers.
Yes. Very good. All right. A patient needs to be scheduled for an outpatient endoscopic exam. When Karen gives the instruction sheet to the patient, she suspects from his reaction that the patient is unable to read. How can Karen professionally handle this situation without causing embarrassment to the patient? What do you think, Jackie?
If there's another family member there, I would maybe say it to both of them, address it to both of them. Not so much, to both of them, so maybe the wife or will understand, and she'll say, oh, I can help you with that, or by addressing it to both of them, she can help him, because she probably knows he can't read. If there's nobody there, probably would ask if he wanted to, that he could have a family member call the office, and they could talk about that, on the phone call and try to get it straightened out that way. That's about the two that I would say that could happen, I guess.
Yeah, bring them somewhere private. I wouldn't do it in the waiting area or something like that. Okay. Characteristics.
Would you offer to go over it with him?
Yes.
If he would like?
Yes. I usually will just go over it anyway. I'll say, Mr. Smith, this is what the doctor would like for you to do. Here's an outline of what's in the paper for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact our office or the number that's on the sheet for this department.
Well, if he can't read, he's not going to know the number anyways. And for me, sometimes too, you're so busy thinking of other stuff that you're not even really paying attention to what that person's saying because you're, oh man, I got to go with this, you know. So kind of, and they can't read, so they're not going to be able to call you anyways.
Right. So that's where, when you have someone else with them, it's good to point it out to both of them. Yeah. Okay. Characteristics of professionalism. Which characteristics of professionalism do you think is your greatest strength? And I would like you to tell me why. So, Liz, let's start with you.
I would probably say dependability. It's really important to me to always show up on time, always be on time, you know, never call out of work unless I have if I'm really sick or something, obviously, but not just for no good reason. And, you know, and even if I had to, definitely contact someone, never just don't show up. And
Okay, great. Brittany, I know you can't explain why, but can you write down which one of the 5 characteristics of professionalism is important to you? Dependability and initiative. Excellent. Thank you. How about you, Jackie?
I would say dependability and team player.
Okay. How about you, Diane?
Dependability and initiative. Because I like to help everyone, and so that we all can be on the same page, and I just find it easier that way.
Yeah. Dependability and team player for me. Absolutely. All right. 5 obstructions to professionalism. Which would be the most difficult for you to overcome? We're going to start with you, Jackie.
I would say not thinking before I act. I have to be very vocal. So I think that that's something that I'm going to need to try to do better. And actually working with my boss, Brian, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get offensive about it. I'm trying to think of what I can say to him and then try to say it calmly so he knows that it's not upsetting me, but we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
Not being so vocal.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Liz?
Probably just the not bringing personal stuff to work. I mean, just my brain's constantly thinking about 7 things at once, and I need to learn to shut off the parts that aren't important to where I am.
Just 7? Okay. That's less than mine, but good. That's good. How about you, Diane?
It probably would be personal problems, and probably getting my adult children to stop calling me.
I hear you. Okay. How about you, Brittany? Can you write down which loyalty to friends versus company? That's a good one. That's hard. Absolutely. Mine would be probably the office politics. I hate office politics. I don't like to play them. I don't want to be a part of them. All right. All right, I'm going to read an office policy, or I'm going to read a case study. Yeah, just wave your arms. That happened last session, and the student just stood up and waved her arms. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. So the case study, and then we'll answer a few questions about it. So I'll read it a little slow. Aaron is a new medical assistant in Dr. Roy's family practice. He was an exceptional student, and he consistently performed well on his externship, receiving commendations from the externship office manager, as well as a written recommendation from the physician. 1 month after he started his job, Bethany asked him to make a bank deposit for her, usually a duty that she performed daily. Bethany told him that she was leaving the bank deposit in Aaron's bottom left drawer of his desk. When Aaron looked for the deposit at the end of the day, it was not anywhere in his desk. He looked in every drawer and even took the drawers out to make certain that it had not fallen behind. All the employees looked for the deposit, which was not found. No one was able to reach Bethany on the phone. The next morning, when Aaron opened his left bottom desk drawer, the deposit bag was there, but it was empty. Bethany had already reported to the physician that the deposit had not been made. The physician called Aaron to his office to discuss the situation. What do you think happened, Liz?
I mean, it's hard to tell for sure, but it does seem like it's suspicious on the part of the girl who asked him. Did you say Bethany, I think? It does seem suspicious on her part that she would ask him to do it this one time when it's usually her job. And when he goes into the office, he should just be honest and tell what he knows, not make things up, but tell the facts that he knows.
Exactly. What do you think, Diane?
I think Bethany took the money, but
Okay.
he's in a tough spot.
He is. What do you think, Jackie?
I think that by having everybody look for the bag just as well as himself, at least he's not putting the blame on him, because he has other people to show that he did look for it, and other people look for it as well. So it's not going to be so much shifted onto him. It'll be shifted onto her, because
Right.
she said it was going to be there, but it's not. So
Yeah. Okay. How can you deal with employees who are determined to cause problems for others in the clinic? Liz?
Just try to be as helpful as possible, but if they're going to give you that hard of a time, try to not have to deal with them one-on-one, as you know what I mean. Just try to avoid conflict with them, but be honest and assertive with them.
Yeah, just don't get caught up in their stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. I'll make sure that I take care of it. Just try to glaze over the subject and not get into it, even though inside you're probably seething. Just try not to instigate or be part of whatever it is they're trying to create. Okay? How can situations such as this be resolved effectively when you are unsure about exactly what happened. Diane?
You're cutting in and out, so I'm not getting your whole question.
Okay. How can situations such as this be resolved effectively when you are unsure about exactly what happened?
I guess that would. We're still talking about the money missing.
Yes.
I guess I would leave that up to the supervisor to make that decision as to how to handle that situation.
Well,
If I'm not directly involved.
Yep, Jackie said it earlier when she had the others, when Aaron had the other coworkers involved helping to look for it. He actually has people on his side, to indicate that, he really went looking for it and it wasn't there. So yeah, it's kind of, you're between a rock and a hard place. But he really has more on his side than the woman did. So
Right.
all right. I'm going to email Amy tomorrow about the study guides. And I have everyone's phone number now. So, emergency contingency. If you don't get connected right away with Jabber and Tamberg, try to use the bridge. So connect with the bridge. Now, the bridge number, write this down. 130.111. 130.130. Okay, that is the bridge number. So when you log into Jabber and you sign into Jabber, a little box comes up that, or how do I?
Oh, does it say type name, number, or address in it?
It does. It says type name, number, and address. Right there is where you would put the bridge number, and you would hit connect or whatever. You would just hit enter or whatever it is. And that should automatically connect you to Network Main. So if that does not happen, call into Network Main. You all have Network Main's number, right?
Right.
Okay. And then if you're not getting anywhere, can you all check your email on your phone or whatever? Or check your email?
I couldn't, but I'm going to start doing it from home.
Okay.
Nobody else here.
Okay. So I'll let Amy know. But then look for an email from me that says, okay, Jabber's not working tonight. Let's use any meeting. And then we'll just go right into any meeting. And then worst case scenario, if you can't get connected, the class is recorded. I'll get it converted and send you the link, in the next day or two. That way, I don't want anyone to get frustrated. I know it was a little frustrating tonight. It was for me too. But you're still going to get the class because it's going to be recorded. If we didn't get connected tonight at all, I was just going to record a class and send it to all of you. So that's usually what will happen if something ends up happening like that.
Well, we did have conversations amongst ourselves when we were all connected.
That's good. That's good. So, Brittany, if you can try and figure out audio for next time, if you need help, let me know. It's probably something minor. Okay. Any questions tonight, ladies? I'm going to tell you, just read the next 2 chapters, and then go on to Evolve. And underneath each chapter, you will see a chapter quiz. So you will go to your KINS Administrative Medical Assistant. You will click on your student resources, and then you will click on the chapter. And underneath each chapter, you have chapter quiz, you have chapter review activities, and then you have medical terminology, glossary, and you have the sample certification exams. Now, keep in mind, these are all practice. The ones that really count for me are the ones that are underneath chapter exams. That's the one, those are the exams where you take the grade and you put it on your assignment checkoff sheet. Okay? So, you know, if you don't get everything done underneath the chapter before next week, that's fine, because that's all practice. It's all a way for you to play around with what you're learning in the KINS course. When it comes time to get you ready for the national exam, all of this playing around will help you. And then we'll have another study guide I'll be sending out to everybody, but not until we get closer to the end of the course. We're not going to touch the SimChart book probably until the end of the class, so you don't need to bring your SimChart book with you to class. We're going to do the SimChart at the very end so that we can just focus just on that. Okay, and that is, do you have your book there, Jackie, your SimChart book? Can you hold it up? Yes. That's the one that we'll do at the very end. Yep. Excellent. So read the next two chapters. Be prepared with some vocabulary. We'll go over some work, more case studies, critical thinking applications. Diane, I did take and delete that submission for you. Liz, I deleted that one for you. Just let me know if you have any questions or anything during the week, okay?
Yep.
I'll probably be setting mine up, Doreen, after as soon as I get home, I'll set my jabber up. Amy's supposed to be actually teaching our medical terminology class next Tuesday. If she can have the guidebook and she has it, she can bring it in to me Tuesday night when she fills in for my teacher, Karen. And
okay.
If she has it, then maybe she could bring it to me on Tuesday night with my class.
Okay, great. Any questions, Diane?
No, I think I'm all set.
Liz?
I think I'm good.
Okay, Brittany? Okay, excellent. Thank you, ladies, for hanging in there and joining me tonight. I hope that you have a good week. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.